It was meant to be a simple, enjoyable evening. My wife, Laura, and I had been invited to a colleague's birthday dinner at a trendy downtown restaurant. She looked incredible, hair perfectly styled, a striking red dress that drew attention the moment we walked in. I couldn't help but feel proud having her on my arm. Dinner was lively, full of laughter and playful banter. I had a couple of drinks and was feeling relaxed, warm. At one point, I leaned in toward Laura, smiling, and went to kiss her on the cheek. That's when it happened. She flinched, pulled back, and hissed, "Stop. You're embarrassing me. I don't want to look taken." For a moment, I thought I had misheard her. The words didn't register, but the look on her face, irritated, almost disgusted, hit me like a punch to the chest. I pulled back slowly, feeling heat rise to my face. Around the table, nobody seemed to notice, but I felt every eye was on me. The rest of dinner blurred together. I smiled when I had to, but inside I was falling apart. On the drive home, Laura chatted casually about the food, the music, the decor, as if nothing had happened. I gripped the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles went white. When we got home, I couldn't hold it in any longer. "What did you mean back there?" I asked, voice low. She rolled her eyes. "Mark, it was just a joke. Don't be so sensitive." "Sensitive?" I repeated, my voice rising despite my efforts to stay calm. "You said you didn't want to look taken. You humiliated me in front of everyone." Laura crossed her arms and turned away. "You always make everything about you. Can't you just let me enjoy myself without smothering me?" I stood there, chest burning. I had gone out of my way to make her happy tonight, driven her across town, endured hours of small talk, and somehow I was the problem. That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling, a heavy pit forming in my stomach. Something inside me told me this wasn't just about tonight. The next morning, Laura acted as if nothing had happened. She hummed while making coffee, scrolling through her phone, laughing at something one of her friends posted. I sat at the kitchen table, staring, wondering how she could look so calm when my chest felt like it was on fire. Finally, I spoke. "Laura, we need to talk about last night." She sighed and set her mug down. "Mark, I already told you, you overreacted. It was a joke. You're making this bigger than it is." I leaned forward. "You said you didn't want to look taken. Do you even hear yourself? You're married. You are taken." Her expression shifted slightly, a flicker of irritation that I wouldn't drop it. "You don't get it," she said coldly. "When I'm out with friends or coworkers, I don't want to be treated like someone's wife. I want to feel free, fun, attractive." I stared at her, stunned. "So you want to act single?" Her silence said it all. That day at work, I couldn't focus. Every email, every phone call felt like static. I kept replaying her words, her face, her tone. I thought about all the times I had sacrificed, worked extra hours, and tried to provide her with the life she said she wanted, only to realize she didn't even want to appear as mine. When I came home that evening, Laura was dressed up again, makeup flawless, heels clicking against the hardwood floor. "Going out again?" I asked. She barely glanced at me. "Yeah, just drinks with some friends. Don't wait up." And just like that, she was gone. I sat alone in the quiet house for hours, staring at my phone. I wanted to text her, demand she come home, tell her how much she hurt me. But I didn't. Instead, I sat in the dark, thinking about the man I was becoming, quiet, resentful, invisible in my own marriage. Something had to change. A few days later, I realized I couldn't keep pretending. I needed clarity, respect, answers. Laura returned home late that evening, her energy high, her laughter echoing down the hall. I met her at the doorway. "Laura, we need to talk," I said, voice steady but cold. She paused, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Can it wait? I just got home." "No," I said firmly. "It can't wait anymore." I told her how last week's incident had left me feeling invisible, humiliated, and disrespected. I recounted every moment I had lain awake, feeling like I was losing the woman I loved, not because she physically left, but because she had stopped being present. Her expression shifted from irritation to frustration, then to something that resembled guilt. "Mark, you're blowing this out of proportion," she said, almost offensively. I shook my head. "No, I'm done pretending. I can't keep bending over backwards while you treat our marriage like a performance. Either we respect each other, or this ends." For a moment, silence pressed against my chest. Then she whispered softly, "I don't know if I can change." That was it. I realized the gap between us wasn't something to fix with apologies or gestures. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a choice, her choice, and I could no longer carry the weight of her decisions. I told her I was moving out temporarily, to think, to see if our marriage could survive her version of freedom and my version of respect. She nodded quietly. No anger, no fight, just a sad acceptance of someone who knew she had burned the bridge. Over the next few weeks, I stayed at a friend's apartment. The distance was painful, but necessary. It gave me perspective on how much I deserved, how much we all deserved in a relationship. Laura tried to reach out a few times, but I kept my boundaries firm. Finally, I drafted the separation papers. It wasn't about revenge. It was about reclaiming dignity, showing that love without respect is empty. When Laura read them, tears streamed down her face. She said nothing. I realized then that I had made the hardest choice, to walk away from someone I once loved, for self-respect, and for the hope that one day, both of us might find peace. Sometimes, the hardest love is knowing when to let go. That night, I slept without fear, without pretending, without compromise. For the first time in months, I felt like I had reclaimed myself.